Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to the match preview for Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest this weekend at Stamford Bridge. And it is a 3 o'clock kickoff, isn't it, Charlie? We've got the
Yeah,
we
three
got the
o'clock. Yeah,
Saturday slot, haven't we? We got our good friend Charlie from Blue Brothers, and please, guys, go and show him some love. He's an absolute top guy. The link for his channel is pinned in the title and in the description. So make sure you show him some love and then go banter him once we beat Chelsea. Charlie, thank you so much for being here, buddy. How you doing, firstly?
yeah, mate. Pleasure to be back as always. Glad you boys stayed up so we could do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah, all going well, mate. We're looking to try and make it 3 wins in just over a week. So, yeah, building some positive momentum heading into the international break. And yeah, there's kind of a more of a feel good factor around Chelsea. So yeah, the mood's definitely good, mate.
It's been a while since you've done 3 in a week, mate, hasn't it?
It's been a while since there's been 3 in general.
But Chelsea have been very busy in the transfer market, a bit like Forest were, but to the 100 times that in terms of the cost of what you've been buying. Do you feel Chelsea have gone too far with what you've bought, or do you still think you need some more, mate?
Look, I don't want to sit here and say we need more. Cole Palmer is the next one. The next one coming in. I'm excited for that. I don't think anyone expected it. I certainly didn't expect it. I'm excited for his arrival. That ticks that sort of right wing 10 hybrid style player that we've been looking for. Look, you can never say never with Chelsea in terms of what we might do between now and the end of the transfer window. Probably just over a day now. But I'd be surprised if any more first team players came in. Look, we could do with a number 9, but the market is not great this summer for 9. So I think we'll wait until January, maybe look at exploring Ivan Toney. But look, in terms of the business we've done, I think it's been a fantastic window. We've got rid of so many players that we had to get rid of, and we've brought in some really good quality and players with a lot of potential, so that we're set for a number of years, hopefully. So yeah, I think it's been a really positive transfer window.
I think the thing that's intrigued me the most about your window is obviously you haven't got any European football this season, especially not in Champions League. But you've had to stave off some competition from some of the bigger the other big boys, if you like, in the league. And I think in specific on Caicedo. I mean, the way you sniped him and hijacked that deal off Liverpool must have been quite satisfying for you guys.
I mean, it was satisfying, but it was almost a massive blunder on our behalf because it was basically been a 1-horse race all summer. We spent about 3 months in negotiations for him. And then I think Liverpool, obviously, and other teams really did have half an eye on him and thought, you know what? Chelsea are dragging out these negotiations. Maybe we'll just chance our luck. And when that bid came in, I remember waking up because it broke at like 1:30 in the morning that news. I remember waking up and I was thinking like, nah. This has got to be a wind up. But luckily, in fairness, it seems that groundwork we put in meant something to Caicedo, and he stuck to his word. So yes, it was satisfying with obviously getting one over on Liverpool, but it should never have got to that in the first place. So I'm just glad we've got him now. I'm looking forward to seeing some top performances from him, certainly over the course of this season and many years to come.
So what's the expectation now? I know me and you were talking last season about bringing you in to beat the drop because, 40 points was, started to look a little sweaty for you guys. I'm interested to know how you and, say, the Chelsea fan base are looking at this season. And what are your expectations? Is it to bounce back into the top 4 or just avoid 40 points again? Or see initial
thoughts? With the money spent and the fact we've got no European football and the quality of players we've bought in, we have to come in and finish. We have to qualify for the Champions League football. Simple as that. Anything else is a failure, and that's the way that I look at it. And I think that's the way that a lot of the fan base that I've spoken to are looking at it. We have to finish in the top 4. I also feel that there's no reason why we shouldn't be looking to go deep in both domestic cups, maybe adding one of those to the cabinet. We've had no silverware domestically since 2017. For a club like us, that's a long barren. So yes, we've picked up Champions Leagues, Club World Cup in between time, but to have no domestic trophy since 2017 is not great. We've lost our last 5 or 6 Wembley finals, so it would be great if we could add a trophy. But yeah, for me, expectation has got to be Champions League football, and I would like us to win a domestic cup.
Yeah, and this year as well, there's 5 spots up for grab, isn't there? If the coefficient goes the way it's meant to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's gonna depend how. I don't know. We'll find out exactly that until January, February time. It
yeah,
just depends how the English teams do in the Champions League. So yeah, could probably do with Newcastle getting out the group stage. That would be ideal, and Arsenal as well. As much
yeah.
as I'd enjoy them going out, it probably helps us in the coefficient for the fifth place.
Yeah. So I think from what I've seen in your transfer window, I've been impressed. I've watched your first few games as well. I still think you need to gel. And that's why I think
Yeah.
Forest coming to Stamford Bridge is probably not the worst time for us. But looking at Forest, mate, how have you seen Forest kind of towards the end of the year? I mean, you got a few depressing WhatsApp messages from me over over the last few months of the season last year. But how do you think Forest finished? Was it where you expected? And what do you see for Forest this year?
Mate, I think you just finished where I expected Forest to finish. It was always going to be like just staying up in my mind. And you stayed up. Obviously, you brought a lot of players in, like similar to us. That's going to take time to gel. And home form was great, away form was terrible. But look, I think staying up was what Forest had to do. They did that, and I look at Forest now and the business that they've done, and some of the names they're being linked with, and some of the players that you've signed. Getting World Cup winners coming to Nottingham Forest is quite a coup. And I look at it and I think, look, obviously you're going to need to stay up. That's going to be the number one aim. But there's no reason why you can't potentially look to push into sort of 12th, 13th, that kind of upper mid table, as it were. But no, I've watched a few highlights of the Forest games, particularly Arsenal and obviously the United game. And I think so far Forest have done what people expected them to do. No one expects you to beat United or Arsenal, and you were expected to beat Sheffield United, particularly at home, given how good you are at the City Ground. So I think Forest, after 3 games, are exactly where everyone expected you to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not in a position to really be analysing the performances. Are they any better than they were last season or whatever? But yeah, I think you're exactly where you're meant to be. And I know it's early days, but I don't think you should have any problem staying up, because even just after 3 games, you can tell. For me personally, I can already tell there's definitely 3 teams that are worse than Forest.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of the Forest players that you've seen so far this season, is there anyone you're slightly worried about come Saturday?
Mate, Awoniyi, the centre forward, who's I think got scored in 7 Premier League games in a row. He's coming for Jamie Vardy's record of 11.
Yeah.
He just seems to know where the back of the net is, which is a really useful thing to have in your side. So yeah, he's going to be a threat. I mean, I like Morgan Gibbs-White. Again, can be inconsistent at times, but he's definitely got a sprinkling of quality about him. Brennan Johnson, if he's still here, will cause issues as well. So I look at those sort of attacking players and think even someone like Anthony Elanga as well, who you signed from United in the summer. There's problems that Chelsea could be caused by those players, and I think Forest, particularly with Johnson, with Elanga as well, there's a lot of pace in that front line. Then pace is defenders' worst nightmares. So yeah, I think there's definitely cause for concern if we were to get hit on the counter or find ourselves isolated one-on-one against one of those boys. We could be in a spot of bother.
Yeah, we've done a lot of phone calls, should we say, between Forest and Chelsea this summer, because obviously we've got Santos in there. And thank you again for the video you did the other day. Our channel subscribers absolutely loved it. But there's still more talk of business between Forest and Chelsea. And the main one being, well, we got Sarr, who I'll ask you about in a second. But the one that looks the closest at the moment is Callum Hudson-Odoi. I was wondering if you might giving us a little insight to him from a Chelsea perspective.
Yeah, mate, it's kind of mad. He's still only 22 years old. It feels like he's been around forever.
Yeah.
I think he broke through under Maurizio Sarri as a 17, 18-year-old. And honestly, if you listen to sort of people from within the Chelsea academy, Reece James's dad as well, saying that they've never seen anyone like Callum Hudson-Odoi in the Chelsea academy. Like, he honestly unbelievable. He gets his break into the first team under Maurizio Sarri, does really well. He's a mainstay. Tuchel really likes him when he first comes in, but he, like Loftus-Cheek, suffered that really bad Achilles injury.
Yeah.
And he's just not been the same since. He got offered the new 5-year deal, 150 odd grand a week, got injured, and then it's just not been the same since then. But at 22 years of age, in the right environment, he's got enough time on his side to return to some sort of decent form and push on and have a very good career, because the ability and the talent is absolutely there. But we've been trying to get rid of him all summer. £8 million is the asking price, which is peanuts in this day and age, particularly for someone of his age, and the potential that is definitely there. So yeah, look, I think Forest would be a good environment for him. I mean, that Fulham have been sniffing about as well. They were in, then they weren't in. Now it looks like they could be coming back in again for him. So I think realistically, it's between Fulham and Nottingham Forest for him. But yeah, there's definitely a player there.
Yeah, and on Sarr, the links haven't been as strong, but he's another one that's been linked. Is he a player that you can see potential in as well?
It's one of those that we signed under the previous regime where it's an opportunistic signing. It's a free transfer. You bring him in and you're going to sell him on for profit. He's not featured an awful lot. He had a few good games under Thomas Tuchel, but realistically, he's not really of the Chelsea quality. He's on $100,000 a week. I think he'd probably have to drop his wages. He'd have to drop his wages if he were to go to Forest. But I agree that the links have not been as strong. There's been a couple of reports, nothing sort of concrete from any of the more reputable sources about him going to Forest. But yeah, he's definitely another one that we do need to get rid of. And I think in the right environment, he again can be a good centre half. He's just not good enough for Chelsea.
Yeah. And obviously your latest signing, a nice one there from Man City that you've brought in. How are you feeling about him? A lot of money for someone who hasn't really had too much prem time. How are you and the Chelsea fan base feeling about him?
For me personally, mate, I'm excited by it. I think there's someone there at 21 years of age who has got a lot of potential. We've seen him. We saw the goal that he scored in the Community Shield against Arsenal. We saw him score in the Super Cup. Despite his lack of Premier League experience, he has started big games and he has contributed to Man City in certain moments. Now, look, am I saying that he's the finished article? Absolutely not. Am I saying he's going to come in and hit the ground running? Absolutely not. But he fits what the new Chelsea are looking to do. He's an exciting player. And Joe Shields, our kind of director of recruitment and whatnot, knows him well from his time at the Man City Academy together. And he's been influential in him coming, like he was with Romeo Lavia. So look, I think Cole Palmer can definitely have an impact in this side. There's a high ceiling there, there's potential there. Yeah. He's got great ability. It just now remains to be seen where he's going to play. Does he start? Is he going to be a rotation option? And it's up to him now to push on and realise his potential, obviously with the help of Pochettino. But it's one that I think no one was really expecting. It certainly wasn't the name people were expecting. But I'm excited for it. But of course, it can be viewed as a little bit of a risk as well.
Yeah, and looking forward to the match. You've been a little bit inconsistent in the league. I mean, against West Ham, I thought that was quite an interesting match. I see Forest setting up a little bit similar to how they did, but maybe a bit deeper. And then obviously you had the draw with, it was Liverpool, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Earlier on. Day. That could have gone different if Salah wasn't offside. And then suddenly that almost woke you guys up into life. And I thought you played really well after that. But are you, and obviously the Luton game, I think even Forest will beat Luton this season, but you did look, Sterling looked a lot better in that match for me. What are your expectations coming into this match? How do you see this one playing out? And what are your thoughts?
I mean, personally, I expect us to win because we should be winning. No disrespect to Forest, but we are a better side. But again, it's not one on paper. Your away record, as we know, is awful. Atrocious, so there's that to factor in as well. Look, I'm not taking this game lightly by any accounts. There's no easy games in the Premier League at all, and anyone can beat anyone on any given day. But I expect Chelsea to probably have a lot of the ball. I expect Forest to probably sit deep. Pick their moments on the counter, take advantage of set pieces. And I think it's going to be more on Chelsea for me to make something happen rather than Forest. I think, as I said, I think if we can get an early goal, that blows the game wide open and it completely derails Forest's game plan in my view. But you've proven you can score goals away from home. You scored 2 at Old Trafford. You've scored at the Emirates. Like, there are goals in this Forest side. So we have got to be careful. But yeah, I expect Chelsea to have a lot of possession. I expect Forest to sit deep, hit us on the counter, try and take advantage of set pieces, as I said. And yeah, I just feel the impetus is going to be on us to break you down. I don't see you being expansive and coming out and trying to play football against us. Certainly not at the beginning. Maybe if you're a goal or two down, you might come out and start to play. But I don't think from the kickoff you're going to look to sort of play an expansive style.
I think you got it spot on, mate. I think that's one of our problems is we're becoming a bit predictable for what the opposition are going to expect from us. And you got it spot on. We will try and frustrate you for 20, 25 minutes, see if we can hit you on a counter attack. Obviously, we did really well against Manchester United and got those 2 early goals. But then we did kind of come back into our shape, and eventually, Manchester United, well, they get their decisions, don't they? So I do tend to agree with you on what to expect. You said Awoniyi is your worry. I mean, he scored against you at Stamford Bridge, didn't he?
Yeah,
if I remember rightly, the crossing from Lodi. Yeah, beautiful
both
goals.
The goals.
Yeah. Are you worried that he's going to get another one, mate, and go 8 in a row?
Mate, quite possibly. We do tend to have a habit of conceding goals. Not a lot of goals, but we do tend to let in the odd goal here and there. So yeah, look, I think he's going to be a handful. I think he is probably your main threat. But we can also cut off the supply line to him as well. That's obviously going to be helpful. But yeah, he for me is certainly the standout one that could well cause us some problems. I mean, I like Gibbs White. But again, can be inconsistent at times. Brennan Johnson, I think, would be a concern. But again, whether he's going to feature in this game or not, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, other than that, I don't have too many concerns.
Yeah. Do you think the link with you guys and Jono is done now? Because it seems like it kind of got really heated for a day or two, and then suddenly just the balloon got popped on that. That's done as far as you guys are concerned from your end?
Yeah, I think so. Now that Cole Palmer's come in, sort of a similar player, I don't see any chance of Brennan Johnson to Chelsea now. So, yeah, that was kind of strange links. Obviously, it kind of fits the mold of a new Chelsea signing, as it were. But yeah, I think obviously there was interest there, and there was kind of exploratory talks and whatnot. But no, it never went as far as a bid or anything like that. So he was just a name on the list, essentially.
Yeah, cool. All right, mate, let's finish with a score prediction. So how good or bad do you think it's going to be this weekend, mate?
Mate, I think it'll be a lot closer than people think. I think you'll probably score. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Chelsea win, but I think it will be a close game.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember back to last year. I'm pretty sure you predicted something similar, and we ended up drawing.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out. I was only putting a goal or so out. Not terrible.
I can't see us winning this one, if I'm being honest. This one, I think, if you score early, I think it'll be 3-1. I think Awoniyi will go 8 in a row. All the chat will now say that I've just jinxed it, but it's just one of those ones. I think once we got you out the way and we get Man City out the way, almost then our season will start. Obviously, we got Burnley in between, which is going to be a huge match. And as you say, a bloody another international break. They just seem there's another one in October as well. It is what it is. But guys, please make sure you go and check out Charlie's channel, Blue Brother. The link is in the title. Make sure you subscribe to him. Honestly, one of the genuinely nicest guys on YouTube. So make sure you go and show him some love. And hopefully we're both wrong on our score predictions and Forest can get 3 points. If you've enjoyed the video, as always, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Forest Fan TV, and jump over to Charlie's channel and subscribe there as well. We'll see you on the next video. Come on, you Reds.